What up, kids? Travis Gibson here. There's been a couple of things that have prompted me to do this. I've been thinking about doing it for a long time. Honestly, I don't have enough subject to do one of these like on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. But if you like this, you want me to talk about stuff, whatever, hit me up, post on this, PM me, something like that, and give me some material to work with, and I'll see what I can get going on this. So anyways, this is Travs Tips. So what prompted this whole thing was two things. Last night I was laying in bed and Ray Witham had put a post up on Facebook, and it said something to the effect of, the reason teachers teach is so they can continue to learn. And that is so spot on. Another thing that prompted this is I just got back from the junior camp last weekend. I'm pretty sure that I like coaching the junior camp better than I like shooting matches. I mean, it's just, those kids are like a bunch of sponges. They want to be there. I mean, I just enjoy the heck out of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love coaching, you know, doing classes, whatever. I really enjoy that, but I like shooting more than those. But the junior camp, man, that is something I will continue to do as long as they'll have me. And when they get to the point where all the kids are better shooters than me, hopefully maybe I've got something that I can help them out with on the mental game. But anyways, so yeah, Ray did the post. That kind of got me to thinking about it laying in bed last night. And then I started thinking about the junior camp, and one of the things that we discussed there a bunch is I helped with BJ coach a pistol portion of it. I taught the long range rifle, and then we worked on some pistol stuff. And one of the things that we spent a lot of time working on is trigger prep, right? So it started off with BJ saying, okay, how do you know if you call your shots? So, you know, and there's some confused looks. Now granted, you know, some of these kids had never shot a match before, and some of them were spooled up, you know, they shot a match or two. But what it basically boiled down to is, you know, BJ put it great. He said, what calling your shots is, what that means is, that's the sight picture you have when the front post jumps up out of the notch, right? Whether it's on the target or whether it's not on the target. That's what calling your shot is, right? So you can call it a perfect shot, or you can call it low left, low right, high right, whatever the case may be. And the great point that BJ brought up that really talks to this is, most of the time when people call their shot, when they want the gun to go off and when it actually goes off are two different things, right? So what they're doing is, yeah, that's the sight picture I like. So now I want the gun to go off, and then the time from when they make the mental decision to make that happen to when the gun really goes off are two completely different things. So, and what is most people, most of the time, what is happening with, you know, guys that are shooting quickly when we're shooting 3-gun matches, action pistol matches, those sorts of things, is we do this, right? So we yank the trigger because we know that the recoil is coming. We want to be shooting fast onto the next target. So that's what, you know, BJ was talking about. When we want the gun to go off and when it actually goes off are usually two different things, and most of the time it's going to be low. So I'm going to go into this. I might go off onto some tangents, hopefully not. But another thing that I heard a really good shooter say, was Rob Latham said it. What do you need to do as a shooter to shoot accurately? Your only job is to hold the sights aligned on the target until the gun goes off. That's pretty darn easy. And if you work at it, you can make that happen. Every single kid that we had in the camp was able to do that. I've had really good luck there, and I mean, I've had some, you know, some adults, they've got some bad habits, they can't make that happen. You know, they couldn't, let me back up, they couldn't make that happen in the time that we had to work. So, but, you know, if you really go out and focus on it, and what I'm doing is I'm talking about shooting 8-inch rounds at 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. You know, BJ and I played a game with the kids, and we were shooting strong hand on 10-inch plates out to 65 yards. So if the gun's capable of doing it and you have enough patience, you can shoot accurately. It's not super fast, right? I'm going to hopefully talk about a way to make that happen, but that's what it comes down to. That's how you shoot accurately. So let's get into this. I don't want this to be a 20-minute video and we're already 4 minutes into it. So got a couple of different guns here. I got a Glock 34, this gun just because you can hear the reset and you can hear the click on it very, very well. It's very audible. These two guns, these are both guns that I built in Bruce Pyatt's class. These rival Mike Voigt triggers. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not gonna say I fell backwards into it, but you know, I listened at late night sessions with Mike doing it and paid really close attention. Mouth shut, eyes open, ears open kind of a deal. And both of these triggers, I mean, they are legit. I love these two things. So one of them, you know, one of these triggers is about 13 ounces and the other one's about 14 ounces. I like the pull on this one better. We'll talk about it, whatever. I'm getting sidetracked again. So anyways, so when we talk about this, what exactly are we talking about? Trigger prep, okay? Most of the time, and I've got this trigger pinned to the rear, so I'm gonna step off to the side here a little bit, right? So trigger's pinned to the rear. Most of the time, what you see people do is this. So the gun goes off, okay? Finger comes off the trigger, it comes back on there. They're calling this trigger prep. That is not trigger prep. That's taking out the slack. That's all that's doing, okay? So what is trigger prep? Trigger prep is the difference between this and, I'm gonna see if I can do it without breaking it, and that, right? So I'm gonna try and hold real still. So watch my finger, how much further the trigger travels. Okay, so I was only probably about 25% of the way there. So like I said, it's been a long time since I shot this gun. Slack, getting rid of a bunch of this. That's trigger prep. Okay, watch the finger. I'm gonna try and finish it off. See it move there, and there's the last little bit. So you see people a lot of times what they're doing is they do this and they're still shanking them. I'm still shooting low. What's the problem? Well, they're taking the slack out, okay? They think this is trigger prep. This is not trigger prep. This is taking the slack out. So they go like this, and then they do that, okay? That's the difference, okay? That's the reset. Finger comes off, finger stays on, whatever the case may be. Picking up the slack there, okay? And that's a pretty good prep right there, I think. So watch it. That's the difference, okay? That's prepping the trigger. Prepping the trigger is adding 1.75 pounds to a 2-pound trigger. Trigger prep is adding 10 ounces to a 13-ounce trigger, okay? Let's look at it on these guys. Same thing, I got the, so I've got the trigger pinned to the rear, okay? So I come off, okay? That's all slack. That's nothing. That is not prepping the trigger. Okay, this is gonna be, I'm gonna try and do this here. So right there, well, I missed it. Okay, off, try it one more time. Slack, okay, there I've got some pressure added. Watch how much the trigger moves. Okay, and literally even there, I was still only about 25%, maybe 30% of the way prepped, okay? So what we're looking for there is, there's the slack, there's some prep, and that's the break, right? This is really, really easy. Where I see a lot of people get wound up on this thing is you'll see them and they're shooting and they're like, things are going sideways, so you see them, they'll do this. So they shoot, the gun goes off, and we're talking about shooting accuracy, right? The gun goes off and then you see this. Okay? Dang it, missed again. Missed again. Okay? So what it should look like is the gun goes off. Okay? Do you see that right there? It's already reset. I'm already starting to add pressure to the trigger. Not very much, because I'm not, it's been a long time since I shot this, but watch the finger. Little bit of movement. There it goes, right? So the gun goes off. Okay? So it's reset right now. You probably didn't even hear it. If you cannot hear the gun resetting, you're doing it right. What you're doing there, okay? The gun goes off, okay? When the gun goes off, it's in recoil. Ideally, when the gun's coming back down off, out of recoil, my finger's coming off, I'm picking up the slack, I'm adding, one more time, okay? It's coming out of recoil, finger comes off, okay? It's coming back down, I'm taking up the slack, I'm adding pressure right there, okay? Watch the finger. There's a little bit of a hitch in there, and there's the last little bit, okay? I see people get that backwards all the time. Where you need to spend time, okay, is not with a pin to the rear. You need to spend time, back off, the gun goes off, it recoils, off, slack, prep, okay? That's where you're adding it. That's where you're aiming, right there. You're getting it dialed in there, and you continue to add pressure until the gun goes off. So hopefully this made sense. I see this a lot. This is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it. Something else that has really helped me, I learned, this is something that I figured would be good to talk about because I picked up something new in the class with BJ. Something else that I think has been a huge help, if you can get into your head, that Wyatt and I, we talk about this almost every single practice session. The mantra that needs to go through your head: prep the trigger, check the sights, break the shot. Gun goes off, Prep the trigger, check the sights, break the shot. Okay? If you know what prepping the trigger looks like and feels like, and I'm not trying to be facetious there, but if you know what that feels like, okay, when you've got the trigger prepped and you've got 1 3/4 pounds added to a 2-pound trigger, you've prepped the trigger and the sights are going like this the whole time you're holding the trigger prep, you've got the pressure on the trigger, there it's good, all right? So I've prepped the trigger, I'm checking the sights, boom, and I add the last 1/2 pound of it or 1/4 pound to the 2-pound trigger to get the gun go off. If I'm at a match and I'm, you know, flailing away on a plate rack with the rifle, or I'm just starting to have issues, things aren't going as smooth as I'd like them to, immediately that's what I start saying to myself. Prep the trigger, check the sights, break the shot. Prep the trigger, check the sights, break the shot. And if you're doing that correctly, the prep the trigger part is coming while the gun's coming up and it's coming back down, and as soon as you're even remotely close to the target, the trigger prep was already done. You're checking the sights, boom, and you're letting it go again. This is something, a whole nother conversation, but where we talk about mental speed, right? How fast your brain goes compared to what your body can do. I have done this, prep the trigger, check the sights, break the shot, on 6 plates in a plate rack, drawing, getting it out there, and I think I ran like a 215. Okay, so the only reason I bring that up is because your brain will work twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as fast as your finger and the rest of your body. So being able to go through there and do that, prep the trigger, check the sights, break the shot, playing that mantra through in your head. Please don't have the misconception that that's going to slow you down in any way, shape, or form, because what's going on up here is way, way faster than what you can make happen here. So there's your quick little tip for the evening. Like I said, if this is something you want me to do some more of, shoot me some PMs, or, you know, comment in this post, whatever. Anything you got questions on, gear, mental game, stage planning, whatever. I'll just try and throw some stuff out there. And I think what we're going to call this is Travs Thoughts. Okay, and this is something that I talk about in all my classes. This isn't necessarily the right way to do it. It's probably not the wrong way to do it, but it may not be the right way to do it. It's not the wrong way to do it. It's just the way that works best for Trav. That's why I call them Trav's Thoughts. It's your guys' job to take it to the range, test what I'm talking about, test what you normally do, test what somebody else, some other instructor told you to do, find out what works best for you, and then you can have your thoughts. Instead of Trav's thoughts, they're your thoughts, and you can help grow the sport and get other people involved and start doing some coaching. So have a good one, be safe, have fun.